It's 4 something, I don't know, 4:18. Trying to make some coffee and wake my butt up. It's been a long month so far, but I'm stoked because we're gonna get on the mountain bikes and go for a ride. We got the gang back together. Gonna be a biker gang today. Look, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Alec, who opened up his place for us to store gear, park, cook, shower, do all of it. He's out of town right now, and so we pretty much took over his house here, and it's really awesome. So Alec, appreciate you, and thanks again for letting us do this. Trevor's got 3 days to kill a bull. He said he doesn't know what he's going to do with the next 2 days after he kills a bull. So that's happening today, killing a bull, and then Trent's up, and then Noah.
Hi.
Good morning. Guys, welcome to our home. When you have a place this nice, it's hard to leave. It's what, 4 a.m.? 4:30?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm putting that in my pocket. It's the morning of our hunt. It feels weird. It's the middle of September, the day before my birthday, and it's the first day hunting. They just opened it up today, and so we kind of bombed up here. Drove all day yesterday with cousin Robbie, and got here and met up with the boys. They've been over here helping out some other guys in some different units, just trying to help out, and here we are. So welcome, glad to have you guys along. We're gonna kind of do a major throwback this year and park at a gate, get our bicycles, and bike into a spot. So for those of you that have been following along for many years, you may remember the good old days. Well, we're gonna go back to the good old days with flat tires and broken chains. We'll see what happens, except I didn't bring any equipment to fix it, so Cody's probably gonna yell at me. Look at this beauty.
You're painted up.
Dude, I came to party. I mean, it is time. We only got 3 hours of sleep last night. Oh, man. But our unit opened up and we're going in hot. We're trying to get Trevor a bull today.
There's always highs and there's always lows, and it seems like the lows make the highs that much better.
It's just unbelievable, man. I like the sound of that.
First time I've had a bow in my hand in, I don't know, 3-4 years. Help us to have some fun. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Your sensibilities, all the rules that make a society. Wanna misbehave, wanna set you free. I wanna break you. Same color in your eyes, all your thoughts depraved, uncivilized. Have we both gone mad, trying to disguise our true nature? I'll go wild over you. I'll go wild over you. I'll go wild over you.
Thank you, brother.
And I've heard you talking to the moon.
It's just the team of guys that we have is just pretty epic.
If there's any way that we can inspire people to enjoy the outdoors and hunting and anything like that, that's at the top of the list for me.
This is nice. Big.
Yeah, no one made those for me.
Oh, sweet. You're going full tactical. I like this.
Yeah, I'm going full tactical. What do you think?
Doing a smoke screen?
I'm creating some fog layer so they can't see how many people there are. There's a lot of people here. The band is back together. I repeat, the band is back together. There's a bull right there. Go kill him.
I'm the shooter. You are the shooter. Okay. I'm just gonna short stand you just.
Oh, tomorrow's my birthday. That's when I really want to be shooter.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
That's tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Don't waste it.
Happy birthday.
That's on public.
We lost Trevor. He's gone. Okay. I see me and you with the book. And I'll knock. I'll knock. Okay, let's just set up over here in case he comes this way, I guess. I don't really know what I'm doing. That's an elk. If he comes through there, I'll just let Trevor have him. Just get in there and shoot him.
You got this.
So if he doesn't come down right there, if we hear him start to squirt that way, we're gonna move right there. Just sitting on the hill. There, I might have to move that. This is what they do here.
Well, he's not running away. It's right there. That wasn't him. No. My bull snuck in.
Little 5-point bull, satellite bull, came downwind 30 yards. That was fun. Big one's up here. We're gonna wait. I almost got him. It's the first 20 minutes of my hunt.
Let's get this one.
Yeah, I just couldn't pull the trigger. Sorry. Did he just shoot that bull? It sure ran off fast. It's just face. I want to sneak over to Trevor and see what we got going.
was that? Shoot. I just wonder if we should get to right there. Because he should come down that alley. If he comes down that, yeah. Never mind.
here. Above his nose. That ain't good. Sorry about that. Gosh. What did I do? Yeah, it was more like 20 yards, maybe 25, maybe. Hit him right in the freaking. I shot him for what? How far was it? I shot him for 30, and I think he was 20.
I was at full draw on him, squeezing my trigger when he shot. I had him. He was 41 yards. I was just squeezing off, and you shot him.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just shoot at us at 20.
Hey, no, that was awesome.
It wasn't awesome.
But it hit him high.
Oh, dude, it's like he's like his face.
That's what he said.
It's terrible.
I gotta get my back.
It's terrible.
He ran around here, and I thought, oh, Mac, they would get a shot.
He ran straight through.
His arrow just sticking way out.
Dude, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I'll go get my back, and we'll reconvene. Trent shot him, but he hit him back.
When I shoot, I don't know. It's weird. I had it right on his chest, just right down, and I shot. And it just ended up right in his face. Like he just goes like this, but I don't know.
Dude, I passed up a small ball.
Did you?
Yeah. What? 28 yards.
Just gonna say, tools of trade. Just doing the Lord's work over there. Is he big, small?
6x6. He's not a giant.
6x6.
It's a big 6.
Dude, his bugle was money.
It's like a 300-inch 6-point, I think. I don't know. The 5-point I passed up would look like a big mule deer's like this tall, that wide. Yeah. And then
So this spot's good.
I was actually at full draw.
So, as you can see, my facial expressions, it's just like, I don't know. I hate making a bad shot. It is a bad shot. I felt really good. It was 22, 24. I shot it for like 27, 30 yards. And anyway, and I buried the pin. Felt really good. Hit it in the face. It sucks. But, I mean, we reviewed the footage, and you can see, if you see on the line, if you draw a line where the arrow went in, the bull was, it would have been a perfect chest, I won't say perfect, but a chest cavity hit, a really good angle on him. But he just drops his face, and I hit him in the face, man. It just sucks. We've got blood. There's blood all over. I don't know how you track a face shot. I don't know how you do any of this. And that's what we're talking about right now. It's like, what do we do? Do we give him time? I don't know, man. We're in uncharted territory here with this. So he's already given about a half an hour. I don't know. We're just gonna look at blood, see what we've got, and then slowly pick it up after about probably an hour or so, I guess, and just. I don't know. I don't know what to think right now. I'm just like kind of beside myself and feel like crap. It's just, we heard a bunch of thrashing over here, some crashing. I don't know if it was other elk taking off. I have no idea. But right now, it's just the roller coaster ride, and it's not a great one right now for me. I heard something, and then you guys cow called, and I heard, and he was loud, and he went up that
bull. He came to the left of us, and he was like in a meadow, and I always range like a like 4 different spots, so I have my landmarks for ranges. But he came on the opposite of that, and when he did that, I felt a little uncomfortable just like judging, so I wanted to get an exact amount. So when he slipped by the big tree, him and I stepped up like probably 10 yards, set up. He came out, I ranged him. He was 43. I took like 1 or 2 steps. Just settling in. I got my 30 on him, and I was just getting my 40 settled in. And Trent's poker, whack. It's like, whoa. It's kind of scared me a little bit. But I knew Trent was over there. I told Noah, I think Trent might get a shot if he comes in on our left. So it worked perfect. And Strand just laid down the sweet, melodious tunes. The elk misty air. Now we're waiting that token hour to go kind of get on the blood trail. It wasn't ideal, as you guys saw, but looks like he ducked about maybe 14 inches, I'm guessing. We'll see how it goes. All that.
So we're about 150 yards into the blood trail. Looks like he'd stopped down there. And then now it looks more like he's walking. It's just literally pouring out. Just please. I heard some noise up here. Noah and I thought it sounded like him laying there pawing. Just unfortunate how that bull dropped. Trent was gonna make a good shot on him. Just super unlucky. The blood, once he started walking, is unbelievable. It's just, he's bleeding a ton. Oh, say your prayers. But we're coming up on a private boundary. If he crosses onto that, we can't just go on there. We have to get a hold of the landowner. We'll probably call the game warden and try to just massage that. Hey, we shot a bull. Here's where we shot it. Here's the blood. Follow him the trail. And hopefully they don't have to allow us to track, which would suck. But hopefully we can get it tracked out and taken care of.
Man, yeah. We're seeing lots of blood. I mean, there's blood. It's like you poured blood all over the ground. So, but he crosses this fence right there into private. So we're calling the state police now, and we're trying to get numbers, trying to figure out if we can go try to retrieve with the blood that I'm seeing. He's gonna bleed out at some point. It looks. I mean, I'm shocked. I am shocked. I kind of. I'm all over the map right now. But he's bleeding. He's bleeding good, so we'll see what we can figure out here.
We shot a bull and have been tracking him for 500 yards, really good blood, and he crossed onto private, and we don't want to cross on there without permission or consent. So I was trying to get a hold of you guys, if you know the right way to go about this.
Well, you would want to find out who the property owner is and let them know what's going on, and then go track your bull.
I can drop you a pin as well.
Yeah, and I can try and get you. I can try and coordinate as far as a phone number for you, but I mean, you obviously just can't go on there without asking permission.
Exactly.
You
know what
are you
range
going to be
is?
in service for a while? Or?
Yes, sir. I'm not leaving service until we get something figured out here, so I appreciate your help.
Okay, why don't you hang tight and let me see if I can give you a call back here in a few.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Hi. My name is Eric Strand, and I was just calling. I got a bull that we shot. We've been blood tracking the bull for several hundred yards, and he has crossed onto. So in order to go find this bull, we need to get permission to cross the fence. If you can give me a call at your earliest convenience, I'd appreciate it. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. Okay. Landowners just made the day.
Really?
First off, how'd you know I'm on vacation? My son is out there hunting, but I can't contact him. He must be out of service. I assume you are legit, or you would not have contacted OSP. Go ahead and keep me posted. I get messages and calls every season similar to yours. Most are not valid. If my son gets my message, I'll give him your number and he can meet you. Hopefully you can show him the blood trail off ranch. You can drive in to retrieve. No hunting. Keep me posted and send a picture of elk, please.
That's awesome.
Yes. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. We just gotta, let's keep tracking blood, guys. Crossing a fence. Because there's blood on this side. And there's blood on this side. We got permission. It's just been a roller coaster as far as you shoot one. It's not a good shot. And I'm expecting no blood. You know, I'm expecting just like just a ton of emotions. And then there's blood. And then we hear a crash and don't know what that is. And then it's just like the bow hunting roller coaster continues. And then now we get up clear to the private property, and we can't cross on a private property, so we're calling, trying to get a hold of landowners. That took about an hour.
OSP.
Yeah, we called OSP. We've had multiple calls. Thank God we have service. We just got permission to go in and track the bull. We left our bows over in the brush. We're not going to take them with us. And hopefully we can find this thing. It says track. I hope he didn't plug something up. So where that last blood bed, all the trauma, we can't figure out where from there. We've split up, we've done grids. We're gonna go back to the main blood and just start doing small circles around it. See if we can get a direction he was headed. Super tough.
After finding the bull's bed about 4 hours after the shot, we lost blood completely. We decided to give him some time before we began grid searching. We refueled and said our prayers and mapped out on Onyx some grid searching routes that we thought would most effectively cover the area to where if he died, he would be here. We walked in synchronized lines 30 yards apart as we would push half a mile at a time, effectively covering 2 square miles. On our last push, we found him.
You found it? What? What? You found it? No way! We're coming! Yeah! Oh! Yes, brother! Yeah! Dude! You found him!
I was just,
Dude! Yes!
I was just walking through, and I looked up and I'm like, no way. There's no way.
I knew it!
There's no way.
Ah! Stuck with it. There's bull, Trent.
Can you believe that?
We worked for it. We did the work to make that happen.
It was right there. We did it, guys. We did it.
Yeah, we did.
I can't believe it. Without the team that we have, none of this is possible. It's nothing to do with me. It's these guys right here. Just wow.
Dude.
Wow.
So awesome. Come here. So awesome. Noah! Good job, guys.
Thank you, guys.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, guys.
I'm gonna have you yet.
Oh, man, it was just a roller coaster. He's a big elk. Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm ready.
Bring it in, buddy.
We did it.
Did he break? We weren't on anything. We weren't on anything. On nothing.
Nothing.
Let's be honest, that was, we're hiking
Was
out.
it kind of where I thought we were?
Our last little grid, the last spot we hadn't checked.
Dude, straight line.
It's just unbelievable, man.
This last grid was 1.1 mile.
He's been dead a while.
Just ran out of blood.
And the shot was just less than stellar. It was terrible, if you want to. But what happened was he ducked when I shot. I was aiming right here, mid-body. I was aiming right here. And he just ducked and... Man, I mean, honestly, all that was just from that shot. They are so tough. But we worked at it and stayed after it, man, and just... I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I was saying prayers all the way through, like, well, how am I gonna, react to this? How do I shake this off? How do, just like any bow hunter does. And it's just like, I just went through this and I looked over and it's just like, oh my goodness. And I just about lost it.
So you walked up on him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do an autopsy.
Guys, I can't thank you guys enough.
Oh wow, he is big. I just knew.
We did never, without you guys, we never found
it.
Never found it. It would have been. Thank you guys. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, man. And that was when we come up the hill, there was so much blood. That was just, if there wouldn't have been any blood or no sign, and I would have felt terrible and everything, but it was just, their signs were there that he could be, possibly dead. He lost that much blood. I mean, it was amazing how much blood he lost. And so it was just like, wow.
This is like the definition of teamwork.
100%. 100%.
We had something not go ideal, but put in the extra effort, hours and hours and hours.
8.5 hours.
8.5 hours searching for this one.
And here he is. I mean,
and the last 4 were without any blood. Like,
so we reached out to Oregon State Police first when we got to the fence line where he crossed, and that took another hour. To get to hold of them.
Landowner, his son, text messages, yeah.
Well, Strand, he's the guy, logistics guy, and he called everybody in the state of Oregon trying to find the numbers that he needed to call to get a hold of. And thank you so much to this landowner. You know who you are. You've got a ton of gear coming at you. I promise you.
And their attitude was like, "Hey,
he's like, going and get
go get him." I'm like, "Do not let him go to waste. Go get him."
Yeah, that was.
But with the one thing too, though, he also said is like, we get this every year, but people are. It's never legit. It's like,
he didn't say it's never, but oftentimes it's not.
Yeah.
He said. And it felt good to do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
Roller coaster of all kinds.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. No, Trent Fisher speechless. I don't know. It's just like, it's here. And when I saw him, I'm just like, no way. God answers prayers, guys. I promise you that. And this is about a 800-pound prayer answered. I'll tell you that. It's a big elk. Crazy. The team is, and we say it all the time, I think, it's just the team of guys that we have is just pretty epic. Like, I mean, we lost blood today. We couldn't find any more. Looked around. All of us looked for an hour and a half all around. Did a little grid, and we're like, man, we sat down and we had some food, and we're like, we got to do more. How can we do more? So we went a whole giant grid, and it was just like, just without those guys to be able to willing to do that, not just give up and be like, dude, we can't find him. Let's just move on. I mean, unbelievable, unreal. But yeah, first time I've had a bow in my hand in, I don't know, 3-4 years, something like that. And it's been awesome. It was so much fun going back through, because I've been shooting a rifle a lot lately. It was fun actually picking up the bow again and going through the reps and doing all the practicing and shooting a lot. It was fun. I'm not jacked about the shot. I felt so bad for this elk. But as you'll see in the video, he does duck, but it just still makes me feel terrible. It's like, it's still within my power, I guess. I don't know. Trevor says it's not, but it's like, after that arrow's released, there's nothing I can do. But at the same time, I can take those factors and narrow them down, I think, to where it's like a really ethical, clean shots. And I've done a lot of frontal shots and been very successful with them. Almost 100% success. I think so, 100% successful with a frontal shot. And I knew if I could get in that cavity, I could, you know, he wouldn't go 75 yards. But when he ducked down and it just hit him where it hit him right in the face, it was just like, my whole heart just sank. It was just, oh, I felt terrible and still feel terrible, honestly, that he had to die that way. But it's just, things do happen. I mean, it's called hunting. It's not called just going out and harvesting. And there is things that take place that are sometimes out of your control. But trying to make everything in your control is the big thing to try to do. And I just, you know, it sucked. It was tough. That's why the roller coaster was just so up and down, just finding blood and then not finding blood and then searching and not finding anything. And then anyway, and then coming upon him and just walking up on him was just, I mean, it was a huge blessing. It's like kind of like fly fishing, right? When you tie your own fly and you put in all the work and everything, and then you know, get it out there and get a fish on it. That's the way it is with our Calco, and we're calling it the People's Calco because we want to know what you guys want. We want to make the best calls out there. And Strand was back there bugling, chuckling, cow calling, and we're starting to just really get to where we're making some awesome calls. And I would venture to say they're the best on the market. They are better than anything out there. They're awesome. And to have this be called in by my own friends with our own calls is pretty awesome. Oh. It's pretty rad. There was nothing until I'm done. Let's do first. Okay. Man, you want to talk about the most emotional roller coaster I think I've ever had. Hunting, period, was this episode. It was just so, when that shot broke, let's just get right into it. When the bull comes in, you see me and it looks like the bull's just gonna come in and walk right to me. I pull back my bow and I've taken a frontal shot numerous times, been very successful with it, and felt very comfortable. The bull was at like 24 yards, 25 maybe. What I didn't know at the time was Trevor was over to my immediate right. Trevor and you. Yeah. And because Cody was filming me. And at the moment that I was about ready to shoot, Trevor was drawn already on the elk. The elk, it knew something was up, something was awry, and it was. I won't say startled, but the elk was definitely a little bit cagey at that time. And I put the pin where I thought the pin should be on a frontal shot and broke the shot. I thought broke clean, everything felt good, and it was just like in that moment of truth, like I honestly, it was like, you know how things happen very, very fast. It was just like, all I remember was it just going whack, and then the elk turning and I see this arrow in his face, and it's just like the heart just sank. I mean, it was just like, then you question yourself automatically. You're just like, what did I do wrong? Why was I aiming at his face? Did I misjudge the yardage that bad? There's no way. You know, all these things go through, and realistically I could have shot maybe that much lower, maybe on the elk, and still had a really good shot. But the trajectory, the arrow, and that's where videoing helps a boatload.
100%.
For me, it did that
two
day.
reasons.
It did that
and
day.
Because, like, I think it's pretty clear on the video, but if you didn't fully understand it, like Trent said, Trevor and I were off to his right, kind of at a 90-degree angle from the elk. And so that's what that broadside camera angle is, actually my camera. And so that's where we did that diagram and everything, and it was honestly perfect that we had that angle. Because with that, from just the frontal angle from Cody's camera, it's really hard to tell looking straight on how much that elk drops. But from the broadside angle, you can look exactly the trajectory of that arrow and how much that elk drops into it. It really shows it. And it's a weird thing because you don't want to be like, just use that as an excuse, but you do want to take all things into account and recognize that.
Because that's dropped a lot.
A lot.
I mean, it's just.
And then also let's take that one step further. Now that, you know, that happened, it's okay, that's a factor. So how do we put more parameters around the frontal shot now?
I totally think about that every time that I look at how it all went down and everything. I'm like, wow. elk are so fast. They're so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, in that
For the
split
size of
second,
the animal
for
they
that
are.
bow going off to it just dropping like that and catching that elk where it did, man. I don't know. I mean, everything's always goes back to ethics, right? I didn't want that to happen by any means.
But if you know, personally, me looking back at the video and the situation, it's like you have 2 different angles, multiple shooters, whether it was scent or whatever, but that bull was on alert enough when that bull heard the crack of the bow.
Oh yeah.
And the bows are not loud, but it heard it enough to where, so like you were saying, does it affect a frontal shot? Well, in a situation where it's different from that, I would think no, not as much, because the elk's not going to know exactly what's
true. But at the same time,
but
in this instance, it did, right?
It did.
Well, it was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And so you might like be confused watching this because that elk stands there for a long time before Trent shoots. And what happens is when that bull walked into that opening, Trevor and I, which you guys saw, we moved up to get a lane because we didn't know where you were.
And I didn't know where you were.
Yeah.
Because I already thought that bull should have been dead. I knew you guys were over there somewhere, and I heard something blow out. Where I don't know if the story was told, but there was another bull that came in that was far.
They saw it and everything.
Okay. Yeah, and so in my mind, Trevor's shooter number 1 that day. Trevor was number 1. I said, you're shooter today. I can, I will be second shooter. So you get the call. So, but I still couldn't see Trevor. And the thing is when I heard that elk blow out, and because you were in some pine trees or something over there, I couldn't see anything. I just heard an elk blow out. And I'm like, did he just shoot one? He could have easily just shot a bull. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's say Trevor did shoot a bull. I'm not going to pass this bull up. No. Not a chance.
No.
And so I'm like, okay, or do I wait for Trevor? If he didn't shoot a bull, then he's going to shoot this bull. There was so much going through my mind. Yeah. And that's why when he came in, that's why I drew and waited so long on the shot and held and held and held. I didn't know this, but Trevor was just about ready to pull his bow. Or release his bow. He was already at full drop.
Like with the perfect storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Trevor drew as that elk was coming into the opening on this broadside angle that I'll overlay right here. And that's what actually stopped the bull, and he turns and looks at Trevor and I.
Yeah.
So at that point, his attention's off of you.
Right.
But when that bull turns his head back forward, and you didn't have a shot that whole time.
I didn't.
Because when that bull stopped from the side angle, you don't think it changes that much. But going back to Cody and Trent's angle, that bull completely postures and puts his shoulder in the way of that frontal shot. And so that's why you were at full draw for so long.
And it's quartering at that point. I'm not going to shoot the quartering.
And the reason that bull turned back forward is because, okay, he had looked at Trevor and I for long enough to know something was up, and he was turning forward to get out of there, and then he sees you guys. So it's like this perfect storm of, he was probably only going to stand there for another second.
He was alerted.
After you shot.
And so I didn't know any, you can always hindsight, so you just never know. But, so let's fast forward after that. I see what happened. I see them come running around us, and it's a unicorn with an arrow hanging out, and just terrible. And so the roller coaster starts, right? I'm just at the bottom of the mountain right now, just distraught pretty much, and just emotionally, like, just very, very sick for that elk, because nobody wants to see something like that happen. And so we get on blood, and then it's just like you poured blood with a gallon jug. Unbelievable.
It's like the best blood trail we had all year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And for like 300 yards, it was just, I mean, you could run it if you wanted to, run the blood trail.
And then the fence.
And then, and so then my emotions were like, dude, maybe, terrible to say, but at the same time, you want the best outcome you can, and a quick, humane death. It didn't happen, obviously, because it went 300 yards. And then we get to a fence line, and that's where we just go, well, we got to do the right thing. So we start calling game wardens. Because that was, Onyx said, that's private. We cannot,
State police,
game wardens,
ranch hands.
Finally got a hold of the ranch hand. He wasn't sure, got a hold of the ownership. Great guy, turned out to be an awesome guy. Anyway, and so he said, yes, you can go recover that animal. But we left our bows at the fence, so that's why you see us searching without a weapon. We never, I'm not going to shoot on somebody else's property. And so then we get to this whole giant space within about 150 yards of the fence of just blood everywhere, and then not a drop.
No blood.
Not a drop.
And at that point, we back out for 4 or 5 hours because we were kind of at a loss. We figured he should be dead right there. Maybe he made a bolt after that, but then...
And it took us probably an hour and a half to get a hold of the game warden, to get a hold of the landowner to get permission.
Like the one spot in that whole area that we had service was at the fence line where that bull crossed.
Yeah,
which
that was
amazing.
by God's grace is what that was.
And that's everyone on their phones, like trying to figure out who to get a hold of. It just...
Strand was awesome. I mean, really strategic, and that Strand is awesome at connections and who to call and this and that, and he had it all dialed. Because I'm just sitting over there just sick, you know, I was just sick. I was just like, this sucks, you know. It just was a terrible, terrible situation, but we were in that situation. We had to do the best that we could. And that's honestly grid search. It's time to grid search. And we started off probably on a clockwise search of, okay, we think that he went at 12 o'clock is what we thought. So let's start off 9 o'clock. Let's do that. And we did it like 3/4 of a mile and came back. And it's so tough in certain situations because you know, there's times you can see the next guy over and there's other times you can't. So it's like, did that middle section get, you remember all that?
Yeah, and when we're planning the grid search, like that's another thing is you got to be strategic. It's not just like, okay, everyone just go look this direction.
Yeah, no.
What we do is we all get in a circle, look on Onyx, and make sure we're all on the exact same page of the scope that we're going to be walking and where we're going to stop. And then, like you said, we all try to get within eyesight of each other, and it's just like yelling back and forth. At this point, you're not worried about bumping anything, anything like that.
We don't have our bows, we don't have nothing.
You're just trying to communicate and find that animal. And that's where like this video is so hard, and I know it's been hard for you like up until this point, after this point, but like to be there was hard, to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Because it's just a weird, like you never want to wound an elk, but there's something like about hitting it in the face. It's just really hard to take, and then editing it. But like the last thing we want to do is not show something that happened, and that can happen elk hunting, and that's happened before, and will happen again to maybe one of you guys. You know, so
it can happen to anybody.
And two, and it's having that team there that's just like, hey, we're gonna find it. That positive team was huge for me, but it's just that keep it up. We gotta keep looking. So we kept doing the grid search. Another one came back, nothing. And I'm talking, we're looking for specks of blood, anything. After seeing what we saw, just how much blood, we were just dumbfounded, really.
Yeah, it was nothing after that.
Nothing. And then, but by the final one, we did a whole nother, our last loop, it was it. We were coming back to that section to say, guys, we did our due diligence. It was getting closer to dark. It was like all day long, and I shot him in the morning. And
right at daylight. I mean, you shot him a half hour after daylight.
Right at daylight. And so we were just coming back, and it happened to be on my little grid too, which was crazy in itself. And he was just laying there dead, just laying there. So yeah, I mean, it was super, super emotional for me, just for like, just how it all went down, obviously. And I think most people watching this would probably understand that, why it was and how it went down. And there's probably going to be a lot of people saying, why did you ever take that shot? And you know what? And I sometimes ask myself that. Would I do it again? Probably. Just because I've been successful with that.
There's always going to be pros and cons.
There is, man. It's hunting.
Yeah, well, no matter what, the most perfect situation, there's always that chance for something to go wrong.
Yeah,
that you,
100%.
The intangibles, right? The things that you can't control.
Yeah. And it's that quick, that
so
fast.
It
can change.
It's so fast. So,
but the thing was to never give up and just keep pursuing and pushing.
And I think that's why it was even more emotional, is because we didn't give up. We stayed with it, and it all came through. And but without doing our due diligence of the gridding and doing everything that we could that day, we'd have never found that elk. It would have awesome. And it would have always been a pit in my heart.
There's so many steps that too. Some people might have saw that, like you have an arrow go high, it hits an elk in the face. In that moment, when everything's slowed down, your first thing you're thinking is, hopefully it drops right there.
Yeah.
But an elk runs off with an arrow in the face, your chances at just right then in that moment are pretty dang slow.
Yeah, they're very slim.
One vital part,
yeah,
which is obviously the brain, and it's just like, okay, and then the first 100, 120 yards, there wasn't even blood. So at that point, how many people maybe are even going to give up there? You know,
it's possible.
I mean, most hunters' hearts are going to sink when it hits where it did. It's just like thinking, is there any way to find?
It just became super surreal, super quick. You know, it's something that we all witnessed. We all came up to each other and just like, this is new. How do we handle this?
It was new to all of us, and it was like, and two, you know, at that point, you can do two things. You can be the guy that everybody looks at and says, well, why the hell did you do that? Or you can be the crowd that looks at each other and goes, okay, this is what predicament we're in. Guys, let's try to do the best that we can to make the best outcome of this. And so, and it's just staying positive, having a good team, staying positive, and it was, and just God helping us and directing our eyes to the elk. It was unbelievable. But yeah, it was one of my elk that I look at it today, and I'm super proud of it. I guess it's just a weird feeling for me, like the elk itself. It's right back. Actually, that's the bull right back there. It's really like, honestly, it's like I don't deserve that elk. A little bit in my head, like, do I deserve it? You know, do I feel bad for the animal that he had to go through that, and it was just, I don't know. I'm still processing a little bit of that, I would say, even this far after season. So it happened, and we, you know, if this is something that's happened to you or a buddy of yours, or you've been on a hunt like this, I think you could probably maybe register with me and understand a little bit, but I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it. Is it going to change my style of hunting? Am I going to quit hunting? Am I going to do? No, not at all. But I will. It will definitely be in my mind. I mean, definitely moving forward, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's the most positive outcome, is to always think about something of that, you know, that nature could happen.
Yeah. So, I think it was my favorite hunt of the year, most memorable hunt of the year. Just the way it all played out and ended up working, you know, for good. But it's just walking up on that was pretty crazy. Like, because like Trent said, we were on our last, like we had been grid searching for like 8 hours. Yeah. And it was like, we're going to make one more sweep in this area. We don't even think.
It was a Hail Mary.
It was basically, we were doing one more sweep because that's the direction we had to go back. I mean, honestly, like we had grid searched for that long and covered that much ground. Yeah. And in our brains was all, okay, maybe he lived, you know, maybe he bled what he needed to bleed, kick the arrow out, and he's gonna make it. And then we find him, you know. It's just like crazy roller coaster.
It was a very, very up and down roller coaster. It was so crazy. So,
but the thing is, though, it's hunting. That can happen.
It is. It is.
It can happen.
But it's that whole thing that you want to try to pull many variables out of it to where it's so much more, you know, just, I'm not going to say guaranteed success, but you know what I mean? Like everything that you can do. And then at that moment, everything goes through your head like, did I do that? Did I make a good shot? I mean, because honestly, when I released the arrow, I just thought it hit him in the face. And I'm like, without the cameras there, I would have been like, I'm putting this bow away.
Like what just happened?
What the heck happened? I am terrible. My shot obviously was off. I couldn't tell. And then when you watch the video, it made more sense to me. Like I knew where my pin was buried. I knew where I was anchored into, but I just, you know, it was so many things. But it's so happy it came out.
Guys were like, we hope that you can see this for what it is, and we don't want to ever not show something the exact way it happened. And so, just like with anything else, that's why you're getting all of this video. So it's hard. It's hard to process.
The good and the bad of hunting. Yeah. It's just part of the hunting world. It's hard. We all don't want it, but the thing is it can happen. And
so, but I hope if anything, you know, maybe think about it next time. You know, that's the biggest I guess takeaway. Is just like, you know, we've got to do as much as we can to make that kill as ethical and as we can. Yeah. So I mean, 100%. That's just takeaway.
Well, it's a big part of hunting. So without, you know, showing this and being real about this, you know, then hopefully you can't call it a hunting video, in my opinion. Like it's how it happened. It's what happened, and that's the way we're gonna show it.
Yep. So thanks for watching it, guys, and thanks for watching this uncut. And man, I was dreading this one, honestly, just because I just didn't want to relive it again. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
Oh.